Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gossip Girl Boardroom, where business meets the juiciest gossip. Join us today as we spill the tea on all things money, followers, fame, clout, scandals, and lies in the world of business and influencers. And say hello to your newest addiction. This is your go-to source for a thrilling blend of entrepreneurial insights and sizzling industry gossip. Today, we have one of my favorite people. I watched her for so long. We've met. We're friends. Margarita. I am so happy you're here. Margarita is a young Latina entrepreneur at the age of 22 during her last semester in university. She started in her entrepreneurship journey in network marketing, and shortly after started her first online business with Dropshipping. Dropshipping took off for her, and 4 years later, she built an 8-figure brand that went mega viral on TikTok and crossed 14 million in sales in 2023 alone. She has 249,000.6 followers on TikTok, 102,000 on Instagram, 27.8 thousand on YouTube, and overall over 350,000 followers across all of her platforms. It is gonna get juicy in here. Margarita, how are you?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy you're here. We're going to jump right in. So before we go into the goss and the tea, tell me about your childhood. What did that look like growing up? Family, friends? Who was younger Margarita?
Okay, so I grew up here in Tampa. I was born in Colombia, but my family moved to Tampa when I was in elementary school. And I grew up with my mom, my dad, and my sister and myself in my household. I was the oldest.
Of course.
And I had a pretty good childhood growing up. I never lacked anything. I had all the love I can ask for growing up. As far as finances, my family didn't have it that well growing up. And I think that's what kind of shaped me, that I knew from the beginning that it was up to me to take care of my family. I didn't know what that looked like for me before. It used to kind of stress me out. Like, what am I going to do? In university, they were like, you're going to graduate and get $40,000 a year. I was like, I have a family of 4. Like, right. What are we doing?
Not going to work.
Yeah. So I went to high school here in Tampa, and I studied computer sciences. I went to a STEM high school, and then I went to university, and I got my marketing master's. Mm-hmm. And when I was in my last semester doing that, that is when I discovered entrepreneurship.
I love. So I think you kind of answered this, but did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Would you kind of just said, like, not maybe entrepreneur, but just something that would take care of your family? At what age were you like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. That's the route I want to go?
22 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I would always say I wanted to be a TV talk show host, or I wanted to be a YouTuber, but I never really pursued anything like that.
Right.
And I just went I went to university. I really had a good university experience. I know a lot of entrepreneurs say like...
Right, they're like, I hate it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I feel like I learned a lot. And yeah, when I turned 22 and I was in my final semester, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was doing a marketing internship at my university dining hall.
Oh, wow.
And they offered me a full-time corporate position as soon as I graduated.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of like what someone would dream of, you know,
Really?
Having something set up. But I knew that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I started doing a lot of mindset development and reading a lot of books, like The Compound Effect, things like that.
The staples.
The staples, yeah. And I started posting it on Instagram. And a friend from high school hit me up. He's like, hey, I'm doing this business, and it's super aligned with what you're currently doing, like reading and like mindset development.
Right.
It would be cool if you came on like Tuesday and like saw this, what was it, like a presentation. Okay. I was like, yes, sign me up. Like I'm searching for change at this point. I'm looking for opportunity. Anything that would have crossed my path, I was going to jump at it. Yeah. And I did. And they made me read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep, so good.
Changed my life. Yep. Typical. This sounds like the cliche story that everyone tells.
I know, but like, I feel like every successful entrepreneur has this same thing where they're like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all these books, and everyone's like, yeah, we know, but it's like, that's literally how it happens. Like, it's that one book or that one podcast or that one person that you're like, oh, wait, I think I can do something here.
Yes.
I love. Okay, so before we go into like the big business, so you started dropshipping. Okay. Yeah. You started making money. Maybe not a lot, but you were making money. When you started making money, and people started to notice, did you have people in your life that started to act different when you started making money in the sense of, okay, wait, she's not just like doing okay, she's comfortable, she's like getting rich. You know, like, did you have friends or people in your life that you felt started acting a little different?
What's funny is that the people who would have started acting different, I had left a long time ago. By the time I started making money, I was down to the people in my circle that I knew were going to be with me the long run.
Yeah.
When I started entrepreneurship, I had a bunch of friends, and when they saw me getting into it and everything, they didn't act different, but I started acting different.
Yep.
And me acting different, me getting into new hobbies, like I just told you, reading and things like that, that kind of made me an oddball in the group of friends that I was with. So they didn't start acting different. I did, and I ended up like removing myself from the situations.
Yep. Okay, cool. So now you're making money, right? And you're like, okay, wait a second. Where and when was that first aha moment where you're like, wait, I think this is gonna work, and like work as in like, I think I'm gonna like be rich. Like, and for anyone listening, I know that word rich or wealthy may come off as like negative, and that's so not what we mean here. I think too many people attach negative to that word or give it so much of a meaning that isn't there, but there is a difference between comfortable and rich and wealthy. And so you as a person change as you go through those phases. So when was that first moment for you where you kind of sat with yourself and you're like, oh shit, this is really happening?
That is such a good question. I think it didn't hit me, honestly, until the beginning of this year.
Okay.
When I went to Dubai. Honestly, Dubai changed everything for me. It gave me a brand new perception of life and what I was accomplishing.
Yeah.
And when I went to Dubai, actually, my business was not doing as good as it had before. So I went to Dubai beginning February 2023.
Okay.
I made my first $1 million in 1 month, about 1 year before that. And
wait, guys, hold on, stop. $1 million a month. A year before that, and she was like, I don't feel anything. Like, nothing's happening. So before we move on to Dubai, take me back to the year before. So in 2022 was your first $1 million month.
Yes.
Okay. Now, prior to that, when you say $1 million month, so people can understand, that's in revenue or that's in profit?
That's in revenue.
Okay. So I don't know if you can answer this, but if you can, on that $1 million at that time, now it's obviously changed, but at that time, what were you making from that $1 million?
My business was making about 30% of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So wait, that's like 300,000?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hold on. So if in 2022, you were making $300,000 a month from your business doing $1 million in revenue?
But that only happened for 2 months.
Okay.
And that, I think that's what taught me, like, don't get comfortable. Because I thought I made $2 million in 2 months. I have $1 million in my bank account.
Right.
You know, like, this is crazy.
How old were you?
24.
Okay, so 24 years old, she has $1 million in her bank account. She had her business hit $1 million after $1 million 2 months in a row. And you guys, the question, just so everyone can understand, the question was, when did you have your aha moment that you were rich? And so for me, if I ever saw $300,000 in a month come into my bank account, I would be like, okay, bitches, I'm rich. And then seeing $1 million in my bank account, I'm like, I'm rich, but not for you. Do you think it was because it wasn't consistent that made you kind of backtrack and be like, okay, wait, I'm not sure if this is gonna stay kind of thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after those 2 months, my entire business broke. My content creator quit, my Facebook ad accounts, TikTok ad accounts, everything like got disabled, and we went from making like $1 million a month to like 200,000.
Were you shitting your pants?
Yeah, it's really stressful. So now we have this business that's operating at this number. So we have all these employees. All of a sudden, we're not making that. We have to let people go, see who can stay. And now this $1 million that I've racked up in my bank account is going down by $60K a month. You know, and like now you're seeing that bank account, it's not growing anymore. It's going down. Everyone is relying on me to figure it out.
Oh my God. I think I would literally take a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would literally take a physical mental breakdown where I would call my mom and be like, I need to go somewhere because something's going on. So, okay, this is all happening in 2022.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you fix it? What do you do?
Okay, December, we hit rock bottom. We were literally about to be at zero in the bank account. I was in Colombia with my family, and Leo flew in. He's like, if we don't do something right now, we are going bankrupt. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, okay. So we fired almost everybody else on the team. And all the money that we have left, we just like put it in a savings account. And we were like, we're going to start again from zero.
Okay, so when you had that $1 million in your bank account to this December where Leo's like, this is it, we have to figure it out. How much did it go down? From $1 million to...
I think we were under 200,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't quote me though, because I don't remember exactly, but it was
significant.
Yeah, and especially for our type of business, you have to have cash flow to operate it.
Right.
Because we have to pay for the cost of the goods, we have to pay for the marketing and the people. So we have to have a certain amount of money in the bank account just rotating and then the profit.
Right. Okay. So now it's December. You guys are like, okay, this is it. We're starting again. What do you do?
Fired everybody. And then
we said bye.
Honestly, especially like that was one of our biggest lessons in business to this day. We were trying to be the cool boss. We're young. We're 24. We just made $1 million. We want our work culture to give Facebook and Google. Like we are a startup.
We're giving Facebook and Google.
Like our team has like free time and they're not even performing. We have one person working a full-time salary doing a job that takes about 1 to 2 hours a day.
Right.
You know, because we didn't want to overstress them.
Yeah.
Biggest lesson in business, one person could do a lot more than you think.
Right. Especially for a full-time salary.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then we hired better and we ended up finding a girl that she was one of my followers. I posted on my Instagram story. I was like, I'm looking for a content creator for my brand. Hit me up. And she hit me up. She's like, hey, I'm here in Tampa. I'm ready to start right now.
Okay. We're ready.
And we hired her when we first got to Dubai. And in Dubai, like, I was talking to people earlier and they were like, how was the nightlife? How was like the thing? I was like, I was working most of the day, doing a little bit of exploring in the afternoon. But during this time in Dubai, we were hustling, trying to like build this business back up.
Yeah.
We hired this new content creator. We trained her. And all of a sudden, our business is working again because our entire business revolves around content. If our content is not hitting, our ads aren't hitting, people aren't buying our product. Yeah.
So at this time now, what was the reason for going to Dubai? Or just because you needed that new environment? There was no specific?
Needed the new environment, needed the energies.
Yeah.
We had, like I told you, we had some savings set apart. And it was Leo's birthday. And we were both kind of in like a really negative mind space. And I truly believe that your mindset will take you further than anything ever can. And I forced Leo. I was like, we are taking first class flights to Dubai for your birthday for a month. And we are going to work and we're going to be in Dubai energy and we are leveling up. We are about to take our quantum leap. It is right now.
Yeah.
Because everything that we've gone through is preparing us for this exact moment.
Right. And so now you're in Dubai, you're there for a month. Things start turning around.
Things start turning
You're
around.
like, okay, we're okay. We can do this. Do you feel like it was physically the energy and aura of Dubai, or do you think it was more so you and Leo kind of coming in unison, being like, we need to figure this out? Or was it a mix of both?
I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
Especially like him and I are both motivated by seeing the nicer things in life.
For sure.
And what better way to see the nicer things in life than in Dubai?
Yeah.
We were like seeing our future there. At that point, we could have literally given up because there was no other option.
Right.
But we just went for it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So then now it's 2023. You come back from Dubai. Where are you at now as far as business? Are you back to, those months? Are you on the rise? Like what month in this year did you re-hit that milestone and then it was just explosion from there?
It was after April, I believe.
Okay.
I would have to check my phone to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it was April. And after that, we had like the craziest summer. I think our highest month this summer was almost $4 million. Like $3.6 million or something like that.
Guys, if anyone's listening, do you still operate at the same 30%?
Yes.
At that point in time?
Yeah.
Okay, so for anyone who needs me to do this math for you, bye. Everyone, goodbye. Cancel this podcast. Close your phone. You guys, in those months where the business did around 3.8, that means that the profit was around $1.1 million, right, in a month. Was then the moment where you were like, okay, I'm rich? Or were you still kind of conservative because of what happened in 2022?
At that point, I was like, I'm rich. I moved into my penthouse apartment. I bought a new car.
She was like, this is it. We are rich bitches. Okay.
But I think the most important part of it is that at one point in 2022, I was doubting myself. I was like, can I do this again?
Yeah.
Is this something that I can do again? Can I hit those $1 million months again? And just the proof that I can do it again gave me everything I needed. Because that first time that I failed, I wasn't sure that I can do it again.
Yeah.
But this time, I know for a fact that I can do it again.
Yeah. Now, in that time where everything was kind of going down, who knew? Or was it just you and Leo?
Leo and I knew.
Okay. So there was no one around you being like, hey, are you going to figure this out? So you were kind of keeping it cool to everybody else.
I was kind of hinting it to my mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom and I are super close, and my dad. And I don't want to worry them.
Right.
The last thing I want to do. So whenever they would ask me, I'd be like, it could be doing better, but it's doing good. And then I would leave their house and Leo would be like, bro, we just lost so much money today. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because just the cost of operating the business, it costs you money every single day just to operate it.
Right.
So yeah.
Let's take a second before we go into the next question. On the mental side of that, right? At 24, obviously you're much more mature and developed than most, but still 24 is still young. Making that much money and then seeing it go down at such a rapid pace, where were you mentally there? Obviously, I think there's a part of you that always knew I'm going to do this no matter what. But the other side was with that doubt and fear and that stress. What did your day-to-day look like when all of this was happening?
Okay, so since it's both Leo and I think I was trying to keep it a little bit more cool for him too, because he was freaking out. And I don't want to see a guy freaking out, but he was he's definitely looking at our bank account and he knows every single number in there. So I think he's seeing it live in action and then he's reporting it back to me, So
Right.
he was super stressed. So I think at that point in time, I was really stressed too, but I wanted to be there to comfort him and
Right.
to show them that it's going to be okay.
You can do this.
Yeah. Even if I didn't know it, I was I have to be there for him. I have to be here for me. And we both can't be lacking right now.
Right.
One of us has to be that positive sunlight, that overly positive person when you're having a bad day.
You're I want to slap you.
Yes. But I feel if we were both super negative,
100%.
it would have just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're in this year, 2023. April comes. Okay. We're back. We're growing. We're rich. Now, first question is, because I feel like you guys do a lot of stuff, whether it's dinner or going out or traveling or anything like that. So 2 questions. Was there a difference going out to dinner when you were okay, not obviously broke, but just okay, and then going out to dinner when you were oh, we're rich? But also, did you ever have people try to come into your life or friends that tried to be your friend once they knew you were wealthy? Kind of oh my God, I saw you on Instagram, let's hang out. And you're are you only trying to hang out because you know that I'm rich or because you think I'm cool and you actually want to be my friend?
Okay, so I'm going to answer the dinner question first.
Okay.
Nothing really changed because we were always acting as if we were already there.
Right.
Maybe we'll spend honestly, we don't even spend that much either. Like we're spending the same amount.
Yeah.
The only thing that has changed with dinners is that we'll treat our friends. Like if I go out anytime with a friend, like I'm paying for it, and I know that for a fact. Like I will get to the waitress before my friend ever even thinks about it.
Yeah.
That has changed with dinners. And then leading on to the question about friends who I feel like are only coming with me because I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, that hasn't happened to me, thankfully.
Yeah.
I had some like extended family that didn't talk to me in forever. And then they were like, hey, I saw you on Instagram. And I'm like, hey, girl.
Hey, I know why you're here.
Yeah. But not friends. I don't meet a lot of people because I work from home, of course. So I've used Bumble BFF.
Yeah.
So that's where I've met a lot of people. But I'm like super like picky with who I choose to hang out with. Yeah.
And how do you navigate conversations when it comes to like meeting new people? Obviously, maybe the first few encounters you don't really get into, much. But when you start to meet new people, is that ever a question of like, hey, what do you do? I do X and that's the end of it. Like, has anyone ever found out and then been like, wait, dude, you didn't say that you were like rich. I just thought you had a lot of followers, you have a good business, but like, you're like wealthy. Has that ever happened yet? Or have you felt that energy of like, I know that they're wanting to ask, but they're not going to, so we're just going to all play it cool?
Honestly, we don't talk about it. Like, if I'm meeting, like, a new friend, they'll be like, okay, so, like, what do you do? I saw you on Instagram. And I'll just explain what it is.
Right.
But if they keep on, like, digging at it, like, how did you start? And then, like, teach me.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Yeah, okay. But my friends don't really do that. They're chill.
Okay, love. So, being in the space you're in, there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of, all of this stuff. When you were first starting, obviously now it's different because you have the credibility to stand on. When you were first starting though, how did you handle the negativity about this space? How did you handle the hate of it's not real, it's get rich quick, it's all this, blah, blah, blah. How did you navigate through that?
I don't care what people think, first of all. Like, when I first started going viral on TikTok, I would get so much hate, people telling me I'm lying and that I'm a scammer. And honestly, anything that, like, attacks my character, I believe I'm a really good person.
Yeah.
And anyone saying I'm anything otherwise, it bothers me.
Right.
So anyone calling me a liar or a scammer or this, I block those words. I don't even want to see them. Don't disturb my peace. I am not that. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Keywords that, like, disrupt my peace, blocked. Yeah. And then, I don't care what people think. Like, how are you going to tell me it's fake when I'm doing it?
Right.
Like, I'm literally making money from it. It doesn't work. Okay, then how did I do it?
Right. Okay, I love that. Something that I feel like a lot of people do or see is rip off other people's content, right? Either make the profile and just take it and pretend they're you, or take your video and then literally verbatim redo it themselves. Have you had that happen?
Yes, both of them. I have people who just completely, like, copy paste my entire Instagram profile, and they'll, like, DM my friends and family and followers, like, hey, you want to start Bitcoin? I actually have a hilarious story. I got in the elevator at my apartment, and this guy who's my neighbor, he's like, what? You're acting like we haven't been talking. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, we've been talking for 2 weeks. I'm about to literally wire you $1,000. I was like, don't wire me $1,000. That is not me. He's like, no way.
He's like, why are you acting funny?
Yeah. I was like, we don't know each other.
Dude. So what do you do about the people that rip off your content? Is it just more of the same thing, like block whatever you're out? Or is there a line that crosses where you reach out and you're like, hey, you literally just verbatim said exactly what I said in my video, except you recorded it?
I see that happening a lot in my space, and I can't let it bother me because they're always just going to be behind me.
Yeah.
If they're copying everything I do, I'm a thought leader. I am creative. Yeah. And if you're not that, then I'm sorry that you have to copy my stuff. At the end of the day, that's your problem that you're not creative. And I've had in my space people take my screenshots of my revenue. I'll post like, I did 3 million this month, like yay. And like huge gurus in the space, like YouTubers with millions of followers, will take my screenshot and promote it as their own. That bothers me way more than anything, because now you're selling your course, you're like growing your YouTube channel with my results.
Now, do you say anything even to them?
I did say something a while back to one guy. I was like, that is my screenshot. And he left me on delivered. unseen.
Of course. Oh my God. Okay. So it happens. So something that I think a lot of people want to know as far as the juice, right, of this is, number one, when you were growing your platforms, right, because you don't have one big platform. You have 3, right? 27,000 on YouTube is massive, especially in 2023. Obviously, your TikTok and your Instagram. How did you grow them so big? But more than anything, I feel like as I've been watching you, I would say since like March, April, they've exploded. What do you think is the reason for that?
First of all, I have a well-rounded content approach. Like, I make sure I post about all my pillars. And a lot of people in my niche, they go for like a perfectly curated route.
Yeah.
Where I've gone more of a natural approach, like my day-to-days, me at the gym, like about me and what I'm doing, not telling you to do something.
Yeah.
And also for my content that has gone viral, I feel like I'm a short form expert, honestly, because I've done it for my e-com business and I've been able to do it for my own brand.
Right.
And I monetize off of virality and controversy. Because I know, like, although, like, we want to steer away from hate and not get hate.
Right.
Hate drives engagement.
Yep.
So, like, I'll know, like, some trigger words that people are just going to, like, go crazy about. Yeah.
Yep.
So if I'll do, like, a day in my life as a 25-year-old millionaire, they'll be like,
you're a scammer.
You're not a millionaire. And like one time I posted my office and they were like, that is not a millionaire's office. I was like, and then my apartment has like, I was taking a video in my apartment with my fridge in the background and someone was like, you can't be a millionaire, look at your fridge. I was like, what did my fridge do to you? Like what?
I think it's so funny when people do that. They're like, your house doesn't look like you are a millionaire. You're this. I'm like, well, how does a refrigerator correlate to any type of money? But that's funny. Okay, cool. So we had some other big moments this year, I believe. You bought your parents a house.
I actually bought them a house last year.
Okay, so 2023.
2022, sorry.
Okay. So you bought them a house during that whole shebang.
Yes, yeah.
What month was that?
September.
Okay. So at that point, how did that feel? I think for all the people listening, they're mostly entrepreneurs, business owners, et cetera. And I think that is one of the main goals of a lot of us is to buy our parents a house, pay off their debt, give back to them in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Was that something that you always knew you wanted to do? And then having it come to life and actually like sign the papers, give the keys, et cetera. What was that experience?
It was the most beautiful experience, honestly. I had been saving up for it. And my mom had invested in my business a while back, so we had that kind of like set aside.
Right.
So we were able to put that down payment together.
Yeah.
It was scary at the time, obviously, because my business wasn't doing the best, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get a new car anytime soon, or maybe I was going to have to stay in my apartment another year. But my parents were taken care of. Yeah. And that's like my number one priority, making sure that they have a place that they can call home. I'm still young. I'm all over the place. I'm traveling. Like, It doesn't matter. I just needed to make sure that they were good.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, last question before we go into, like, some biz stuff. I know that if I were you and I had that first moment of, like, okay, this is for real, I have money, etc., I'm splurging on just one thing. I'm not going to go crazy, but, like, I need to prove to my brain that we can do this and still have money in our bank account. What was your splurge when you first like had money? Obviously you may have splurged after, but like that first big purchase that was just for you.
I remember my first purchase. It was when I made my first $10,000 in one day. Mm-hmm. I think this was in 2019.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I bought a Gucci belt.
The Gucci belt.
That's so embarrassing.
You know, I feel like, but a staple.
And I still have it, and I know everyone's like, ew, the Gucci belt. And I'm like, I'm never throwing this Gucci belt away.
No, it meant everything. So when that was just funny. Okay, so that was in 2019.
Yes.
And so you have been making money on and off for a while.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So then you move into this place where you're making a lot of money more consistently. Did you have that next level of splurge yet since April of this year?
Well, yeah, I moved into, like, not my dream apartment, but, like, the apartment that I wanted ever since I was living at my parents' house.
Yeah.
There's only one of it in Tampa. It was only going to be that one, you know, and I moved into the one and only one.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was your splurge.
That was.
Is that the place I was? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The windows and all the things.
Yeah. And then my car, of course.
All right.
Yeah.
Can't forget the car. Tell them what kind. What kind of car?
Oh, it's a Mercedes GLE 63.
Yes, she whips around. It is beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. So now let's move into business. I feel like a lot of people want to be in this space. They want to make money. Things that I've seen just from obviously dabbling in my short time. Okay, guys, it wasn't for me, but don't make fun of me. So, number one is I see a lot of people start this because they think they're going to get rich fast, like millionaire rich fast. Do you feel like that is what people think this is?
I do think that people think that they're going to become a millionaire fast. I personally don't think that's how it works.
Right.
Can you make money fast? Yes, but if you don't know how to keep the money and run the business correctly, then you can lose it fast.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people too get this generic advice of like, here's where you look for a product, here's where you get it, and then that's how you make money. Mm-hmm. And I think obviously gone through it, there's a lot more to that process. Mm-hmm. The logistics, the margin, like all of that stuff. So if someone were starting out, take me back to when you first started and like you picked your first product. How many products have you gone through until now you have the one? Obviously, if you guys don't know, fun fact actually, when I was first starting or dabbling, I literally texted Margarita and I'm like, do I like tell people like what I picked or like the name? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, people are asking and I'm telling them. And she's like, no, that's not how this works. I'm like, oh, okay. So now backtrack. How many products did you go through until you found obviously the one that has built your business?
I went through a stage in time that I was thinking more quantity of products tested versus quality. Okay. Big mistake. Okay. So I went through at least 200 products.
Shut up.
I swear. And like I tried to go through like I did clothes, I did shoes, I did knickknacks. Like Mother's Day gifts, winter clothes, jackets, boots. I've sold everything on the internet. Any product that has gone viral, I have sold it.
Okay. So now, I remember you telling me this once, but there was some of those products in there that did well and then didn't, right? Or like did really high and then kind of fell off.
Yeah.
Okay. So where were you when that was happening? Was that like your motto? Like at that point, obviously, were you in the space of like, I'm just going to keep trying because these are one-hit wonders? Mm-hmm. When did you actually realize, okay, wait, I need to actually pick one of these and now build a brand presence and be consistent, etc.?
Yeah, so in the dropshipping space, they call that the pump and dump. Yeah. So like you get a product and it's going viral, so you just like push it hard, and then once like the trend is gone, you just dump it and move on to the next one. I did that a lot. It worked really well, and I think that the reason why those didn't work out long term is because I stopped making new content for it. Right. Like I was like launching a couple pieces of content, and once those pieces stopped going viral, I was like, oh, the product died. Right. I was like, no, girl, like the content, like make new content.
Right. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can tell us this, but if you can, what was one back then, obviously, when you were just starting, that would go viral and then it was a pump and dump?
Okay, so my first product ever was actually a reusable straw during the Save the Turtles era. Remember when everyone like stopped using straws and everyone went to the reusable straws? Yeah. I rode that trend.
Capitalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sold like a reusable keychain straw that like would bend and you can put it as your keychain.
Wait, yeah. That's kind of fire.
Yeah, it was like a cute little thing to sell. And I did get some sales, didn't get rich from it. But then like the product that I was like, oh, dropshipping works, was a 9-in-1 push-up board. And it's like a little push-up device that works out a whole bunch of different parts of your body. It's like a little board.
And that one worked. Well,
yeah. It hit for a long time. Like I went to the Bahamas, I went to New York. I was like, oh my God, I'm rich. Yeah. Until it died. And I was like, wait a minute.
Not anymore.
No, I have to find a new one.
It's actually funny you say that. I was looking at your story maybe last week or earlier this week. And you were talking about when you and Leo went to New York and you had to stay on the outskirts of New York. It's so funny because in 2020, me and Cody were broke. Like, not even, probably worse than broke. And during COVID, flights to New York were like $30. So we bought tickets for $30 on JetBlue to go to New York City. And we stayed in this whack hotel that was like $56 a night. And we were like, we are living. We just flew to New York. We're staying in a hotel. And then we started to go around to restaurants and we're like, Cody's like, babe, we have to eat Chick-fil-A. Like, we don't have enough money to go to dinner. And obviously now full circle. But for you, how was that full circle moment when you went back? You were in the city, obviously doing the big things versus the first time you went when you had to stay on the outskirts.
Yeah, so Leo and I were talking about it, and like the first time we went, we did all the things that were just walking around and sightseeing. Like, you don't gotta spend money on it. Like, the pizza's like, what, $1 if you go to like the right pizza place. So like pizza, hot dogs, walk around sightseeing, and then like take the metro back to like Long Island because we couldn't stay in the city.
How far is it?
I don't even remember, like 40 minutes.
Yeah. So you just had to stay on the outskirts, obviously, so in Long Island. So then you went back. Now, recently?
Yeah, we actually make it a tradition. We go every Black Friday.
Okay, so you just went this past.
Yes.
Okay. So now, how has it been differently now? Obviously, seeing both sides of like, oh my God, we had to stay 45 minutes outside of the city just to go, and now we're really in it.
It's crazy. We have pinch me moments all the time. Like, we went from like having to be all the way out there to like now we're in like a really nice hotel. We're eating breakfast at the complimentary buffet.
Yep.
And there's like a guy next to us and he's wearing like a Richard Mille. And like when we're checking in, like a mom and her daughters were walking in with a whole bunch of shopping bags. It's giving like ideal New York Christmas.
I was gonna say, I feel like I'm in like Sex in the City, like just rich but happy energy, I want to say. Like,
all happy, all love, Christmas vibe, family vibe.
The vibes. I think, you guys, something that people really miss is, yes, obviously there's perks to being rich or wealthy as far as money, freedom, etc., but it's so much more about the energy and the aura and the places that you get to be and how they make you feel.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the feeling that you had when you were 45 minutes outside of the city is much different than the experiences you have now. So I love that. So now that you're doing so well in your business, obviously, something that a lot of people want to know about is ads. When you're first starting, when your business is thriving, etc. So before we go into that, number one, you do ads obviously now.
Yes.
Okay. How much a month are you spending on ads, would you say? Or even back then when you were still making good money?
On a month that we're like scaling to like, let's say $1 million a month, we could spend about $18,000 on TikTok ads per day.
For a month? Or for indefinitely, or how long?
Like every day, every month.
Until you cut it off?
Yeah,
okay.
Until it becomes unprofitable and you have to like cut the ad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for someone who's new, you wouldn't suggest, obviously, I know not that, but even ads in general, would you suggest ads or no?
I would suggest ads.
Okay.
Yeah, if you pay attention to the numbers. Like, just know how much money to not spend more than.
Right.
You know, like $20 as your budget. Don't spend more than that because then you'll be unprofitable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I think a lot of people have this notion where they hear, I need to do organic first to see if it works. How do you feel about that?
It's a great place to start if you like just really have no money to invest.
Right. Like
but
$0.
if you do have the money to invest in ads and you're not doing it because you're being like a little stingy with your money, to me that's a red flag.
Yeah.
If you have the money invested in ads, because ads gives you speed. It doesn't give you results, it just gives you speed. Yeah. Like organic, you're just depending on like the views that you're gonna get organically.
Right.
With ads, you're paying for eyeballs.
Right.
If the content is good, it's gonna work either way, but more people are gonna see your ads content. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So now let's say someone's starting today and they're like, okay, I'm starting, etc. What's the best way to get traffic to the product in your opinion? Now, obviously I know we talked about ads, organic, etc., but is it more so making the content themselves? Is it reaching out to people and having them do it? Is it influencers, or is it a mix of everything depending on how much money they have?
Yeah, it can be any of them. All of them work, honestly, as long as it's a good piece of content.
Yeah.
Because you can invest a whole bunch of money in an influencer and they made a horrible piece of content. Or you can make the piece yourself and it's horrible. If you make good content, it's going to work out. If the influencer makes good content, it's going to work.
Yeah. Okay. That's true, for sure. So now knowing what you know now, right? If you would have started today with nothing, you had $400 and you are starting, you don't know anything. What do you do? How are you doing it?
I'm doing short form content.
Okay.
I'm ordering the product and I'm making the content myself, and I'm having like people around me help me if I need a face. And I'm posting organically.
Yep. And how would you say, are you doing Instagram, TikTok, YouTube multiple times a day, as much as you can put out, or are you capping it at a certain number?
As much as I can put out on TikTok, and then take that content and post it everywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're making great money, right? You're doing this thing. Number one, are you reinvesting the money back into the business, back into other people's stores to help them grow? Or are you gearing up? Like, what is your next play for 2024? Is it just to scale more? Or are you getting ready to do something else?
Reinvesting back into the business. We just invested $1 million into inventory. So we've been drop shipping from China for years.
Yeah.
And we just made the big leap into bringing a whole bunch of the product over, having a warehouse here and shipping from here. Wow. So we're going to be, inventory, I guess, takes more cash flow to have it on deck. So we're just gearing up for that and continue scaling our current store. In the future, we do want to exit, but I don't think it's going to be this year because there's a lot of growth potential.
Yes, you guys remember my post yesterday where it said, I'm looking for the conversations about 9-figure exits, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's so powerful. Okay, so now just some like overall questions. Let's talk a little bit about people when they're trying to learn, right? There's obviously courses, there's mentors, there's YouTube, etc. Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of scam courses, mentors, YouTubes, etc. What is someone looking for to know what is a valid and trustworthy course to invest in? Is there things that they should be looking for, questions they should be asking before investing into a program?
Okay, good question. So if they want to be successful in drop shipping, they need to, the most important part is product research and advertising, marketing, content creation. So if you're going to be looking for a course, don't just buy a general drop shipping course. Okay. Buy a course that specializes in either advertising or marketing, and like learn as much as you can about advertising, marketing, digital marketing, short form content, things like that.
Yeah.
Like store creation is on YouTube.
Right.
Product research is on YouTube. Okay. It just takes time. But like marketing, advertising, content creation, that's where they need to be focused on. Okay, cool.
This just popped into my head, but I feel like a lot of people, when they're first starting, they may not see the immediate result and they think the product doesn't work. But sometimes, like, you know, anyone listening, don't take offense, but like sometimes your content just sucks. And like that's not offensive when you're new. That's usually how it starts. Have you seen that where people have said like, oh, this product isn't working, and you kind of look and you're like, it's not the product, your content sucks right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, if you're selling a product and you're getting like 200 views on TikTok, you're getting like, there's interest there.
Yeah.
Your content sucks and you're stuck in that 200 view jail.
Yeah.
Make better content.
Right. I think to her point, you guys, like she said, there's a lot of this stuff that can be found on YouTube, right? So investing in something that can teach you how to market, how to sell, how to create, because I think in 2024, some of these content creators look like movies. And so having good content, but also raw and authentic. Mm-hmm. How do you feel each of those perform? Like there's obviously those extremely curated pieces of content that people do that look like a movie. Yeah. But then there's also that raw, organic UGC type of content. What do you feel works better?
The latter. The UGC organic style content always works way better. For like my digital, for like my personal brand, organic content, like transparent, like just being myself. And even for like my e-commerce brand, when our influencers are just being themselves and like being goofy, we don't really put out anything that looks like commercial.
Curated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now diving into mindset. So I think this is a hard play for a lot of people, especially for people who, one, don't see results in the time frame they deem is right, but also people who have those products that do really well and then kind of fall off, and they don't know if it's them, if it's the product, if it's, you know, whatever. And they get in this mindset of, this is never going to work. Like, I thought it was a get rich quick. I'm not going to get rich. I'm done with this. your mindset from the beginning of your journey, I feel like has always been, I can do this. I can figure this out. But for most people, sometimes it's not that way. How have you had such a strong mindset through the ebbs and flows? Because I even think you had to have a strong mindset in the beginning to push, but I think the bigger mindset comes from having $1 million months to watching that go down. That's where I think all of that work the last, 3 years came into play. But for someone on both ends of that spectrum, how do you keep that mindset so lasered in on this is going to work? I don't know how, but I'm going to figure this out, and I'm not just going to give up kind of thing.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I allow myself to feel emotions. If I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling like it's not working out, I allow myself to feel it, but then I'll think about it deeper and I'll feel that emotion to a certain extent.
Right.
I'm not going to allow myself to spiral.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my business is not doing good right now. I'm not just going to continue telling myself that same story over and over again.
Right.
I'm going to be sad about it. I might cry about it. I might get frustrated, but for 2 hours max. Drink some coffee, wash your face. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Because my only option is to succeed.
Yeah.
And people who allow themselves the option to not succeed, that's on them.
Yeah, I agree. You guys, I think something super important here too is if you listen to her journey since she started, it's always been, until recently, more of those ebb and flow of trying to figure out what's the right dial to switch. Just a little bit here, tweak here, refine. And a lot of that comes with the mindset of it's not that it's not working or that's not going to work. It's just, where do I have to fine tune to get it to flow? Mm-hmm. And so now you're in this place. So let's say someone has made a substantial amount, right? And they're doing good, but they're stuck at that maybe $1 million a year type of thing, and they're ready to scale. What do you think the biggest thing is that holds people back? Is it not being willing to spend the money to hire, to delegate? Is it the mindset of, I don't know how to scale and I don't want to invest in another resource? Where do you think people get stuck to then begin to scale past that $1 million mark?
I think it's definitely the team.
Yeah.
And not even being stingy, not wanting to hire, but even when you have the resources, hiring is hard.
Yeah.
Trusting somebody that they're going to do something as good as you're going to do it, or just going through the interview process. People lie about what they've accomplished.
God, people fucking lie. I'm why would you lie about that?
Yeah.
And to your point of hiring, I think that's so true. That's something that I had to let go of, because you guys, if you're listening, no one's ever going to do it as good as you because they're not you. But at the end of the day, 90% is better than you having to do it all. And so for me, that was something I had to let go of. And I was the choke master. I'm no, this isn't right. And honestly, if I just did it, it would have gotten done faster, mm-hmm. and I wouldn't have to go back and do it. And what I've learned is the whole point of it is I'm not supposed to do it at all. And so for people out there that are having that struggle of you're not doing it how I want to do it, what advice would you give them as the owner and operator of this whole thing?
If it's really bothering you and it's something that you can train them on, train them.
Yeah.
And just hold their hand, show them exactly how you want to do it, send them a video of how you would have done it, and just try to help them. But if you're telling them the same thing over and over again and they're just it's not clicking for them,
yeah.
maybe it's time to maybe get somebody else.
Right.
But training.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking the time to do that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is training 100%. You guys, I think employees or VAs or anybody, when you hire them, they don't know anything about what you're thinking. They don't know how you want things done. And so some people don't train enough. And that's why there's no ebb and flow or flow. So if you are someone who's ready to delegate and go to that next level, what would you say is a good amount of time to train? Is it a week, 2 weeks, a month, depending on what it is?
Play it by ear.
Okay.
Have maybe the first week, the basics, let them get used to what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Watch over them. Maybe you do it one time over a Zoom call and they watch you do it. Then the next time they do it and you watch them do it.
Right.
And tweak and go from there.
Yeah.
And also open communication. I don't know what other people use. We use Slack in our team. So just open communication, anything you need, let me know, group chats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping it open.
Exactly.
Okay, so as we're rearing the end here, let's talk about the vision for 2024. So obviously, you have goals. I know you, so you definitely do 1, 5, 10. But what is some of your goals for 2024? Whether it's personal, professional, revenue, traveling, etc.
Revenue-wise, so last year we did 9 million. This year we just crossed 14 million. Next year, I want to do $20 million in revenue for my business. Lots of travel. I want to go back to Dubai.
Yeah, I've never been, but every time I see someone go, I'm like, I think it's just a must.
You have to go.
Yeah.
Dubai is the most beautiful place. You'll love it. Then I also want to work more on my personal brand.
Yeah.
I want to be more present. I want to share more of the journey. I feel like we need more women who are successful in business to be sharing their story, sharing their life, being in a way a flashlight for the future girlies that are going to be coming and like getting into these rooms.
Yeah, I love that. I think something that you said there, getting into these rooms, obviously you've gone to events, you've multiple Shopify, all of these different things. How does someone get in to those rooms? How does someone make those relationships? I also saw, I forget the brand name, but you met with was it a skincare brand or a beauty brand, whether it was the CEO or of one of their departments. Number one, how did you get in those rooms? And what would you advise someone who truly wants to follow in the path that you're on? Mm-hmm. How do they get in those rooms?
The way I did it, I guess I had an advantage because I've been sharing my business journey online. So if there's an event or something locally, someone will reach out to me, be like, hey, there's going to be like an entrepreneur event. You should come to it.
Yeah.
Another way is being in groups, like Twitter groups or like Twitter communities, Instagram communities of people doing something similar than you and chatting with them, like people in your same niche and getting to know them. And then they'll invite you to events like word of mouth.
Yeah. How was the experience with those two things? So at the Shopify event and then with sitting down with that brand and kind of just being in that environment, what were those two things like?
Eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because we went to the Shopify event, like making like $4 million a month, like almost.
Right.
Like we're like on top of the world. And then there's like people our age, like, two of my brands make $4 million a month. My other two make $2 million a month. And I do this and that. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like, wait, there's more.
There's more. They're making so much money too. And it opens the door to so many things. Like they're like, once you have this business like established, you can like duplicate it and do it again.
Yeah. And then was there anything that you took from sitting down with that brand that you were really like, wow, this is all just wild?
Yes. So when we were in Barcelona, we met with the CEO and the COO of Coconut, which is a skincare brand. And they took us into their headquarters. They showed us everything. And they gave us a whole presentation. They actually invited us over so we can help them with their short form content because their short form content was not performing. And they heard about Leo and I from another guy. And he was like, yo, those guys are like killing it with short form content. So he was like, I'll give you guys a tour of the warehouse and then I'll answer whatever questions you guys have.
Right.
We're like, of course, let's go.
Done.
So we taught them short form and then he showed us all of their product packaging.
Right.
And the perceived value of their brand and all of that. And at the time, our product packaging, it wasn't horrible, but like, it wasn't that good.
Right.
Immediately we fixed it and we were able to like charge more because now our perceived value was up.
Yeah. I think you guys, something super powerful there is it was a normal exchange of them teaching, the brand something about short form. All they did was get their questions answered, but that was one of the pieces they needed to unlock more and do more and upgrade, their packaging, etc. So,
and to bounce off of that, you were talking about like getting into the rooms with other like-minded people.
Yeah.
Equal share of value goes a long way. You are going to be more likely to sit with millionaires if you have something to offer them in a way. I know that sounds like shitty, but like if you get into a room and you have no story to tell, no value to give, you can't even make somebody laugh, like get out of my table. Like
you cannot sit with us.
It has 4 spots and I want visionaries. I want people who are at least going to make me laugh, who have big goals. you don't have anything to bring to the table. Why do you want a seat?
Yeah.
That's why like mindset development and like learning on your own, having your own thing to bring is so important to get into these things.
I think something really, really important that we can kind of wrap up on is what you said about there's a lot of women that want to be in rooms with millionaires. There's a lot of women that want to be a public figure. There's a lot of women that want to be known. And I think the biggest discrepancy is you don't get known unless you have value. And not saying value as in your place on earth, everyone deserves to be here, but seats at the table are earned. And that means, it doesn't mean that you have to have the same income, but it means you have to bring something, intellectual conversation, ideas, questions, something that these people that are making the money you want to make can be like, you know what, that person's enjoyable to be around because they get it. They might not be there yet, but they get it.
And they're on their way. Like, I have a friend who, like, she wants to become a personality online, and she posts every single day her going to the gym, her 5 to 9 before her 9 to 5.
Love that.
That is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Like, you're inspiring me, like, regardless of how much money we're making, even if I'm making more, you are inspiring me way more right now.
Yep.
Even that is a form of value that you can bring to 100%. The table.
I think something cool is a lot of the people that work 9 to 5s and that are also pursuing this other career, I know when I see that, I'm like, what am I doing sitting here watching this right now? I'm like, I need to get up. I need to do this. I need to do this. And it is inspiring for people to work that much, because when you really think about it, I know for me, we work a lot. But then I think about it and I'm like, there are people that are literally working 12 hours, 18 hours, like straight, no breaks, no gym, no sunlight, because they're pursuing something. And I think that's value as well.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap up, I know we're kind of dancing around it, but let's say someone listens to this and they're like, okay, I don't think I have any value yet to bring. I want to sit at a table with people like you, people like Alex Earl, people like brands, people, all this stuff. Where do they start to start building value? How do you become someone of value?
Work on yourself.
Yeah.
Just read books, go to the gym, listen to podcasts, make your brain bigger.
Yeah.
About yourself, because that is the most important thing. If you are the type of person who takes care of yourself every single day, I know that you're going to be the type of person that works on your business every single day and is consistently trying to get better. Yeah. But if you can't even like go to the gym, like you're not going to build a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah. I think something that is so powerful too that you said was, it's more so about you. It's nothing that you have to obtain to make you of value. But I say this all the time to a lot of female entrepreneurs. I'm like, if you ask me to hang out and you're asking me to go to the bar on Friday at 9 p.m., we're never hanging out. Okay? We're never hanging out, because if you have time to go to the bar, you have time to make money. You have time to help more people. You have time to serve more people. And to me, I always say this. People always say, well, I don't post content a lot, or I stopped posting because I didn't get anybody, like, no likes, no engagement, no buyers. And I'm like, that's exactly why you didn't get it, because you're only putting it out for an ROI. I'm like, the difference is I put content out because I want to be someone of value, regardless. And even this podcast, a lot of people are like, why are you doing it? I'm like, because I think it's needed. And because I want to, and it's a way to add value. That's what I want to be perceived as. And so for that kind of stuff, what are like your red flags when people ask you to do stuff, or they say, they're serious about X, and then you see them doing like X, Y, Z, and you're like, liar, in your own head, obviously. But what are some of those small things that you see people do that they don't think is a big deal, but in reality, it is?
Yeah. So same thing that you said. If you've been telling me for forever that you want to start posting on social media, that you want to start just being an influencer, making money online, and you tell me that we're going to go to an event or something like that, like, you're not focused. But my other friends, because I do enjoy going out, I do enjoy going to the bar on a Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
but I want to go with somebody who I can have a high level conversation with. So I know it's like my friend that has been working her ass off all week and like putting in the work and doing her content.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot in common because we're both working towards something.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good viewpoint. I think there's two types of people, you guys. One is me and one is her. But I think the key thing there is, who are you going with?
Yeah.
What do the conversations surround themselves with, right? There's a difference between going out to the bar, having a few drinks, you know, letting loose and having really powerful conversations that sometimes can even branch to creative. And then there's those people that go out and they just want to get drunk. They just want to gossip. They just want to talk about their shitty job, their shitty boyfriend, their shitty whatever.
Yeah, boys.
Right. And those are the kind of people that you're kind of like, bro, I really thought you were serious and you're not, you know? And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing here with this last point, you guys, is the consistency in your life matters. Not about even the business, but let's back up to the personal of, are you going and working out or just moving every day? Are you getting fresh air? Are you reading? Are you meditating? Like, I think a lot of people undervalue the power of like meditation or journaling or getting sunlight or grounding. But I'm telling you guys right now, if you want to run a real business, those